Welcome to the Same Day Podcast, where we discuss driving incremental business growth and other topics related to real estate, property management, and entrepreneurship. Now, to the show at hand.
Matt Zalk here. I'm the host of the Same Day Podcast, where I connect with top business experts and real estate leaders. Past guests include Brooke Reuter talking about contract for deed versus lease to own options, Scott Reeves of Chickasaw Community Bank talking about commercial banking options, and I recently spoke with Will Gilbrecht of Franklin Heating and Air in Northwest Arkansas about all things heating and air, including why home warranty companies aren't great for owners or investment property owners. Today's episode is brought to you by Chris Lyle State Farm. Chris Lyle State Farm helps you protect your most precious assets and investments, whether it's your home and auto, investment, rental properties, or other valuables. Call Chris Lyle State Farm for a quick and painless phone call to potentially save you double digits on your insurance needs. Visit diallyle.com or call his office at 918-878-7771. Today's episode is also brought to you by Keyrenter Property Management. At Keyrenter Property Management, we are a full-service property management company helping our clients buy, renovate, and operate real estate assets. We help our clients build wealth while taking the headache out of property management. It doesn't matter what rental you have, a single-family home, a condo, townhome, apartment, we have the management solutions that you need. Go to keyrenterpmc.com or email us at info@keyrenterpmc.com. A huge shout out to Brent Bowers, an investor and coach with a focus on buying and selling vacant land. Brent's program, The Land Sharks, is an advanced online training that makes it easy for anyone to generate passive income through land, even if you know nothing about real estate. Visit thelandsharks.com. Brent was the one that introduced us to Ray Zhang, our guest for today. They're in the same industry and know a lot about buying and selling land. And I'm going to get to that in just one second. Before I do that, let me introduce today's guest, Ray Zhang, who was once homeless but became a millionaire through flipping land. Tried real estate for 6 years but couldn't make it work until he started flipping land. Now he flips nationwide and makes a seven-figure yearly net profit while doing his deals anywhere he goes. He does more than 400 deals, or he's done more than 400 deals across the nation, and he does it all from the comfort of his home. His biggest deal was previously 1,000% profit. Now it's 1,900% profit, as you're going to hear on the show. A very impressive story. Ray's website, landflipinc.com, is how he helps clients build a successful land flipping business from scratch. Ray Zhang, welcome to the show. So excited to have you on. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for inviting me.
You've got an amazing history. I love, as a person that is descended from immigrants from Europe. I love the general immigration story. I don't know what the exact statistics are, but generally speaking, a huge portion of new businesses and entrepreneurs are founded every year by immigrants. And I think a lot of that's driven largely by, language barrier and inability to find work other places at some point, of course, barring, the tech folks and people that have advanced degrees and other stuff. But it's an amazing story. So I want to hear from you, like how you got started. Tell us how you got to America. I want to hear the whole backstory of how you went from homeless to a real estate professional. Tell us a little bit.
Absolutely. So I was a student in Hawaii. So I wanted to change my life. So I had to do something. But, on the school, my parents gave me $4,000. That's all they had. And my dad was a taxi driver at China, and you know how much they earn, right? Very few. My mom was selling tickets on the bus, so not too much of income either. So they gave me $4,000. That's all they had. I don't blame them, but my mom definitely tried her best. And when I came here, I went straight to Apple Store. I bought a computer and an iPhone. I have like 2,400 left. And then I was like, what am I going to do? So I gave to the first semester, and then that was it. And there are 3 semesters in a year. So I don't know how I can find the second one. So I just have to deal with it, I guess. And then I start to look for jobs. I later on find out that was illegal to do because they don't want us to work off the campus. But I did earn a whole lot of money because they pay like $15 an hour outside versus like $7 an hour in the campus.
Right.
So I got my second semester figured out, and that's how it went.
How did you, were you on a scholarship of some sort, or it was all cash pay?
It was some sort of scholarship, but there's some cost. At least one semester, you need about $2 or $3,000.
Yeah. How'd you figure out your second semester? What'd you do to make some money?
So the third semester, I just struggling, and I start to eat one time a day,
Wow.
eat noodles one time a day, and then uh, just don't know what I'm gonna do. So I start to then flip cars, like I flip a lot of different free stuff, right? So I pick up stuff from the market. I just go to Craigslist and search for free stuff and flip them.
Wow.
So that kind of got the third semester done.
Old fashioned entrepreneurship. What were you flipping? For example, you were flipping cars, you were flipping furniture, and how much time was it taking of your day? And were you able to study on the
I
side?
didn't like study, so I just do that all the time. And then my car business got so big that the principal started to notice we have a lot of cars in the campus, and he was like, he was living in the campus, and one day
Yeah.
he came out. That was summer break. He was like, "What the hell? Why do we have so many cars?" And I thought everybody goes back to school, go back to home. And and then he hired the security to look at the footage, and there was me and an Asian guy running around doing the cars, just flip them, right. And he called me in. He said, "We have to let you go."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you have 21 days to sell those cars. That's what he told me.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Did you
had
sell them?
about we had about 80 cars.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got them all sold within 21 days.
And did you make money on all the cars or did you lose some money?
Some cars will lose money because we just do a trade in to the dealers, right? So, but when they kicked me out, I had to go back to China, and then I went to a place I don't even know where, but it's not my hometown because I don't want my mom to find out.
Yeah.
So I went there for like 3 months, and then I came back with another visa. Um, and and then I just became homeless when I first came here.
So were you living in a car or were you living on the street? How did that work?
Yeah, I was living in the car for about 3 months. So I met my wife. Luckily she don't mind. I didn't have money, and we got
Yeah.
married.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you still had your computer and you still had your iPhone.
absolutely. Yes.
And were you able to use those to transition to something else?
Yeah, so I just keep flipping cars, and then the car business is not too bad, and it became a little bit better. I started, rent a place, and then eventually I started to explore what's a better outcome than flipping cars, and then I find real estate.
Okay, so tell us about your transition into real estate. You started out doing a single family, multifamily game?
Yeah, single family, multi-family, I tried it all, but I was in Hawaii, so flip houses there is a little bit more hard,
Yeah.
like harder. So I didn't know how to do it. So it's been 6 years I've been trying. I was thinking to just give up and do something else. But then I find out land. That's when everything started to change.
Yeah. So you've done 400 or more land deals, all from the comfort of your home. Tell
Mhm.
us about this 1,000% or nearly 1,000% deal. How did it come about? How did you find it? And then what did you do to it, if anything? And then how did you find a buyer for it?
So that was kind of a couple months ago. So right now the record has been break. Right now
Wow.
it's 1,800% return.
Wow. Okay. Tell us about the 1,000% deal. I love that you're setting new records all the time. Tell us about the 1,000% deal.
So we, for land, a lot of people don't know about land. So because they don't know how much the land is worth. Uh, and one thing I find out is I have a lot of, very good house flipper in my program right now. And the one thing
Yeah.
they have to do a mindset change is they have to know, they have to change from, for the houses, you cannot offer too low. To for a land, you can get a land super cheap. They have to do this mindset switch.
Wait, so let me understand. You're saying if you're flipping a house, you have to make sure that you don't offer too low because people understand the value of the house. And if you offer too low, they feel offended.
Yeah.
And they feel like you're lowballing them to a degree they're not willing to accept. And therefore, you can lose a deal theoretically by offering too low. But with land, there's no such thing as too low. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. There's no such thing as too low. I got free land for free last year, and I sold them.
Why would somebody give you land for free? Because it's a burden to them.
Yeah. So I sent them an offer. Yeah. I sent them an offer for 8,000. They see the offer price. They just don't want it. They say, I don't want your money. Just take it. Right. So it's
because why would somebody do that?
Because the land gave them so much pain. And then they think there is no value. Absolutely.
Wow. Even though you're offering them 8,000, they say, no, just take it. Please take this off my hands. And were there any liens on the land? Was there anything that you had to clear up in terms of quiet title after you bought the land?
Just a couple hundred in back property taxes. That's it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So back to the 1,000% deal. Tell us how you found the deal, how it came about.
So we just do direct mail, the same thing with houses, but the difference is we actually send out offers. So when we send out offers, there's a price on there. We normally offer about 40% of the land value. And then when the offer comes back, we actually negotiate again.
Wow.
So it's like double kill, right? So
okay, so let's do an example. The land you think is worth $1,000, you send them an offer for $400. And they say, sure, I'd love it. Ray, I'd love to buy this. I'd love to sell this land to you. And you say, well, how do you make the argument that it's not worth as much as you originally offered?
So first of all, you need to find out what's wrong with the land. You cannot just, purely bargaining with no reason, right?
Yeah.
So I would just say something like, yeah, I'm not sure because we actually, when we made the offer, that's kind of like a mass scale. We do it to everybody and we do it within like a couple hours. So there's no way I can know exactly what's going on with the land. But looks like your land is covered with trees. There's quite a bit of trash on the lot, and it's actually a dirt road access, not a concrete road. Maybe there is a high tension wire on top of your land. So I'm sorry, but I couldn't do that for $400.
And instead you say, what, I'll give you $200, or you just negotiate you just feel it out and cut the price somehow?
Yeah. So, and the key thing I did is I never gave them a specific number. So I tell my students all the time, if you give a specific number, sometimes you will miss the deal of your lifetime, because you never know how low the seller is willing to go.
Got it.
So when we negotiate, there's absolutely no price in my mind. My goal is just to get as low as possible.
And so somebody would come back to you and say, well, there are a lot of trees, and you're right, the road is dirt instead of concrete, and there are high tension wires. How about you give me $75?
Sure. So the key thing is never accept the first offer. So I would say something like, yeah, because when you say $75, if I say, okay, let's do it, and then there's something going on like a seller remorse.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say something like 75. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think in that condition is something like 30 or 40 range. I don't know. What do you think the best you could do?
Yeah. Interesting. Right. Okay. So the 1,000% deal, you were flyering, you were sending out mailers, and somebody called you back.
Yeah, right. They call me back and negotiate.
And how much did you buy that land for?
I bought it for, I would say $2,000.
And you sold it for 20.
Yeah, sold it for 20. And recently I bought another one for 1,000, sold it for 19,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is there any way to know really when you're mass mailing what 40% of the value of the land is, if that's what you're trying to get on the first pass of that mailer?
Yeah, we cannot get 100% accuracy, but we're trying to. So what we do is, first of all, we try to find out what is the sold price per acre for that subdivision.
Right.
So subdivision is very small units, right? And then we offer 40% of that average sold price per acre. So We just do everything based
Got it.
on subdivisions. If
Yeah.
a subdivision don't even have a sold in the last 3 months, we don't even mail them.
But so you're doing a lot of deals. I mean, if you bought one for 1,000 and sold it for 10, or bought one for whatever 1,000 and sold it for 19, I mean, you're doing 57. If you're netting $1 million of profit, you're doing something like 50 plus deals a year, 60 deals a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing that all from the comfort of your home. So you don't buy into this philosophy that real estate should be in your backyard, that you should be able to touch it and feel it and walk it and know it. You're not bought into that, are you?
For land, no, absolutely not. So you can be anywhere and do this business in anywhere and from anywhere.
So where's your home?
I live in Florida, Jacksonville.
Got it. And you buy land all over the country?
Absolutely. We buy land in Hawaii, Arizona, Colorado, South Carolina, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida.
And so the process is you just get all the details. You get land records, including the mailing address of the owner of the land, and start blasting out mailers.
Offers, yes.
Offers. And how does that offer actually look? I mean, in your mailer, it says, I'm willing to offer you $2,000 or whatever, or is it actual check? Is it a letter?
It's a standard purchase agreement. So people can sign it. I can just turn it to the title company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So simple. I don't want complex stuff,
And is there an X next to the 3 places they need to sign an initial or something?
Yeah, they just need to sign, and they can scan it back to me. I'll just send it to the title company. That's it.
Wow. Okay. So where's their peril? I mean, where can you lose in this whole thing? They send you the transaction, you've negotiated, it comes to the right price. And what do they do, by the way? So if you send them an offer for $1,000, but ultimately you're going to agree on $300, they just strike out the price, right? $300, they initial it, they scan it back to you, you initial it, and then that's enough.
I actually don't want them to do that either. So one thing I believe in is anything you add more action steps for the seller is actually bad for you, because the seller will be like, yeah, cross that number is so hard for me. It's hard work.
Yeah.
So you might think you just need to cross it and change it to a number. That's an initial, that's it. But the seller don't want to do it. So what I do is just sign it and send it back to me. And then when they scan it back to me, I have software. I can just cross the price completely. There's absolutely no trace there was ever a number on there, and then I change another number. So I then send it to the title company. So,
and you've never had a seller go, well, that was not the original price. That was not what we discussed.
No, we already agreed on the deal, right? So we talk about, on the offer letter is 3,000. Now we agreed to sell it to buy 1,000, and then I just do the crossing thing myself.
Yeah. And do you use a contract that's specific to the state that you're buying the land in, or is it a geography agnostic?
Yeah, it's a pretty standard purchase agreement to basically all of the states. But if your land is in California or Hawaii, that will be more paperwork needed, because most of the states, that's good enough.
Yeah. What are some of the differences between when you started trying the single family and multifamily, and when you were successful in buying land, in your approach, or maybe some of the technical differences for those of our listeners that are very familiar with buying single family, multifamily residential, which involves, the contract is pretty standard in Oklahoma and Arkansas. And then you do inspections, you have an inspection period, you put earnest money, you have to run title on the property. So in our state, it's an abstract state. They have to bring the abstract up to date and check it. What are the differences that you find in between that situation and buying land?
For land, it's just much simpler. So there's not too much we can do, actually. So I tell people I just work 2 hours a day. They don't believe it. So I was like, what do you need to do? There are 6 steps of flipping land. So the first step, market selection. You have 30 minutes to choose a market, right? And I can choose a market in 5 minutes, right? So the second one is how to make offers. We can get it done within an hour. So that's 1 hour and 5 minutes, right? And the third step is look at the record and determine how much this land is worth. That's worth about 3 or 4 minutes per deal, whoever people call me. And then I negotiate. So most of my time just spent on there on the phone, 2 or 3 hours a day talking to the landowners. And when they agree on the price, we put that to the title company to close it. The title company will do all his work. I don't need to do nothing. And then I just need to close a deal and sell it by the realtor. The realtor will handle everything to sell it, to take pictures. They go there and check it out. I don't even go there. So you look at the process. I don't need to do nothing much.
Yeah. Do you use the same title company in every state? Across the country, or is there a different title company in every state?
Title company for the same title company for the same state.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then you just find the realtor that deals with land the most in that county or region, and you trust everything to that person after that.
So the steps goes like, we first have to find out who actually sold land nearby. So I don't never go to search like Oklahoma County land realtors. I never do that.
Yeah.
So I just look at the same street, who sold land, and then I call him, and then I see he's good. And no matter he's good or not, I call 3 of them.
Right.
And I would pick the best one. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. When you're comping land and you're trying to determine what it's actually worth, and you look at the subdivision, do you ever not find comps? I mean, is there ever land, or is that part of the market selection that before you send offers, you have to know that there have been other land purchases in that area?
Yeah, for the same county, at least have about 40 sold in that county. But sometimes you do have some small areas don't have a comp. So what you do is just go back to, instead of 3 months, you go 6 months or a year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any challenges where you thought you were buying one piece of land that was zoned a certain way, or maybe the one next door that you end up buying is zoned the same way as the comp, next door or 2 houses down, but it turns out that there's some land use restrictions, that there are water drainage issues or anything else that makes the property less valuable than you expected?
Yeah, so that's why we need to talk to the realtors before we buy the land. So whenever we actually put the money to the land, we have to ask the realtor to drop by and validate for us.
Right.
And to see if there's any potential red flags.
And so the realtor, what does the realtor generally charge for selling land? Is it a
normally,
standard?
normally 6%, and some people will go like 10%, but I would not go over that.
I mean, because they're not making, if you're selling a piece of land for $20,000, they're not making a ton of money. 6% is $1,200, 10% is $2,000. They're doing a lot of work for not very much money, right?
Not too much work, honestly. So they just need to go there, take a picture, and list it for sale. That's it. And people will come here and they can bid on it or make an offer. And the process with me is extremely simple, because whenever I talk to the realtor, I tell them I want my land to be the cheapest on the entire market. And then they just get it sold very quick. So for example, I sold 2 land last week. The first one I sold within 3 hours, posted on the MLS. The second one didn't even make it. The second one didn't even make it on
the realtor had the buyer.
It sold. Yes.
Because you're making so much money on each transaction as a percentage, it's like you don't care whether it sells for 21 or 19. You're still making such a good margin that it doesn't really matter. You want just to go quickly.
Yeah, so it all comes down to how much you bought it for. So negotiation is important.
Does that mean that you're actually just flipping the contract in the end, or do you ever take possession of the land?
I actually buy them. Yeah. In some states, it's illegal to post that contract for sale on the mass. Right.
Got it. So have you ever lost money on a land deal where you bought it for $2,000 and you couldn't sell it?
Not yet. Not yet. So I just extremely careful before I buy it, and then hope for the worst before I buy it, and expect the best after I buy it.
Yeah. What advice would you give or what advice do you give to your clients that are part of the program at LandFlip Inc? Like, what do you tell them when they're looking to enter the world of investments? What are the kind of initial steps to get started? I know you say the process is, select a market and all the other things that you said, but what if when they're scared and they've never done it and they are trying to get in, but just can't break through, what do you tell them?
Yeah, sometimes I've been into doing business myself for so long. Sometimes I forget this feeling, which is the most important thing is you try to get it started and then you keep consistent. Because if you work for someone else, you try to jump into any things that you have to do it on your own. Sometimes it's a really scary thing to do, and
Yeah.
because I'm so used to it. So right now I don't even think about it. But sometimes if you're working for someone for so long, you try to do something your own. That's a commitment. How committed are you, right? So if you
Yeah.
just want to try it out, I don't suggest you come here. But if you're committed, do this consistently, mail consistently, and then this thing will probably change your life.
What's the duration of consistency that you want somebody to commit to when they join your course?
There's no duration. You just do it until it works. So I have a student. I guess the universe has a way to test everyone, and
Yeah.
just it depends on what's your weakness, right? So this guy mailed 10,000 the first month, no deal, right? And the
What does
second
it
month,
cost? What does it cost to mail 10,000 usually?
$6,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So normally I would have a lot of deals, or 10,000, but no deal for him the first month. Second month, 10,000, no deal. I was like, what's going on here? Is this something he did wrong? And or something I taught him wrong? I started to doubt, and
Yeah.
but he has no doubts.
Yeah.
He just do it until it works or he died, right? So the third month he got like 10 deals the third month.
Is that
And
normal? If you sent 10,000 mailers, would you get 10 deals or would you get more or fewer?
fewer. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's definitely like he got his he got proven, he is qualified now and he can get deals. And those 10 deals will probably net him more than 100,000 in profit. So
Wow. Did he mail the same 10,000 people 3 times or did he mail 30,000 people?
30 different people. Yeah. Different counties.
So some people that mail more on the single family side, they say you have to mail consistently for 6 months or a year. You mail every 6 weeks, the same address, right? The same person. You mail them every 6 weeks for 6 months, and then you mail them every, whatever, 3 months for another 6 months, and then you get the deals that way.
Yeah, you can, but for land, people make faster decisions. So they either want it or they want to keep it.
So you
And
never mail the same person twice.
at least no less than 3 months apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe after 3 months, I'll remail to that county again.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one challenge with buying land that I see is that in real estate, you can take depreciation against your income. There's all these accounting tax losses, and that helps you pay less tax. But in land, it seems like not only are you not in a long-term capital gain scenario because you don't own the land for a year, I suspect, rarely would you ever do that, but you also are paying full tax. How do you deal with that?
There's no way around it. I just have to pay for it, right? So maybe you can put it on the company and depreciate other stuff like the office, office space, like all the costs,
Yeah.
can add to it, but not think too much. That's a one shortcoming for land investing. There's no depreciation.
So ultimately, every year you pay six figures in mid six figures in tax to the government.
Yeah. So I'm in Florida, so I don't have state tax. That's a little bit better, but I just have to pay the federal
Yeah.
tax.
Is that the only downside of investing in land from your perspective?
I think so, and I don't think there's anything else because you can do it from anywhere. It's kind of free. You don't have to be anywhere for so long,
Yeah.
and
Who
yeah.
who trained you originally in flipping land?
There was a guy who trained me. He actually didn't train me like from the start to beginning, the start to finish, and I just asked him questions because I already have some background. But when I first started, I didn't know anything about land. So this guy, he actually tell people how to buy and sell on terms. I absolutely hate that model.
What
I
what do you mean
think
by what does that mean buy and sell in terms?
so. Buy the land and sell on terms to someone who
Oh, so you
collect.
car- you carry the note.
Yeah, and
Got it.
then you collect $150 a month. I was like, if you want to do cash flow, do apartments. What do you do with land, right? Because they can stop paying anytime. You know, but for
Yeah.
apartments, it's different. Uh, so I don't like that model. I want to just do strictly buy and sell.
So you
So
don't like the model of the passive income, um, because why? Because if you have to take the property back, then you have the property again, and You just don't want to deal with that?
There's just a lot of tire kickers. So for $150,
You're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah. There's a lot of people ask you, is this available? And then you say yes, and then they are not available anymore. You can't find them. You can't find them anymore.
Yeah.
They're just gone.
But if somebody theoretically, so I get it, there's a lot of wasted time. That makes total sense to me, and I would trust that happens regularly. I mean, I'm in the rental business, and we also have a lot of tire kickers. We have systems to weed out people that are not serious. But my question is, if somebody buys a tract of land and they pay on it for 2 years or 3 years, I would suspect that their buildings, they're making an improvement on that land. And so if you could deal with the tire kickers and weed them out somehow, you would then have somebody that buys the property, improves it, and if you had to take it back, it'd be worth a lot more than when you originally sold it to them, no?
Normally they don't do nothing until they pay it off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so they might be paying for 10 years, and they're just thinking, oh, this is my retirement plan. I'm going to move out to that subdivision or out in the country on this land, and I'll build a house then. And they pay it off in that interim.
Correct. Yes. So
Interesting.
That's their plan. Yeah.
Interesting. So for the people that do Brent Bowers, for example, who introduced us, he does do the note. You call it terms, or sale on terms. He does carry the note. Does he have a better system for weeding out tire kickers, or he just has more patience than you on that front, do you think?
I think he has more patience, definitely, but he does buy and sell as well right now.
Yeah.
And, just the buy and sell on terms, it's just you have to have the right team set up first. Otherwise, you get so frustrated and distracted too, Yeah.
Are there any podcasts that you listen to on land flipping? Any interesting industry conferences that you attend? Any books you read on the subject?
Not too much. I think that's one thing I tell people, just listen to one or two, that's enough. There's people who listen to everyone, and then they try to come up with their own strategy, which is not going to work. Yeah.
So just stick with the Ray Zhang strategy, and that's all there is to it. Don't overcomplicate it, in other words.
Absolutely.
I love it. Ray Zhang flips land nationwide and makes a 7-figure yearly net profit while he flips land from the comfort of his own home. He's done more than 400 deals across the nation, and his biggest deal has returned a 1,900% return. That's 1,900% return, buying for $1,000 and selling for $1,900. Ray's website is landflipinc.com, and that's how he helps his clients build a successful land flipping business from scratch. Ray, any final parting words for our audience?
I think one thing I keep emphasizing is just staying focused. So if you want to do, let's say, terms, right? Do the terms. Don't do the buy and sell, right? If you want to do buy and sell, don't do terms. And if you want to do houses, just focus on house flipping. Just don't try to do everything at the same time. That's wasting money, waste your time.
Choose a path and stick to it.
Absolutely.
Sage advice from the man himself, who makes more than $1 million net profit every year from flipping land. Ray, I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you so much, man.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Same Day Podcast. Tune in to a new show each week and be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.